it can be such an important tool from a investment management point of view when you're talking about principal protection, and from a successful financial plan point of view when you're able to add in guaranteed lifetime income. But my goodness, nothing gets people more excited than talking about annuities. And I tell them, I say, you go home, you're gonna Google. There's lots of things that you're gonna find, but it's just like life insurance. It's a lot of work to put together a good life insurance plan. It's a lot of work to stay on top of the good annuity platforms and make sure they're the ones that fit into the platform or the plans that you want to use. So can you talk about that a little bit, Dave? I mean,
Yeah.
where does all the static come from?
Yeah, annuities are a four-letter word for a lot of people. Ken Fisher has said that I would rather go to hell than sell you annuities. He's got actually a trademarked phrase, I hate annuities and so should you. So the question becomes, is there any substance to what Ken Fisher is saying, or is Ken Fisher trying to sell you something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is the number one fear that, and this has been proven by study and survey after survey, the number one fear that Americans have is running out of money before they run out of life, right? That's the number one fear. Um, and so the question is, what is the best way to ensure that you will not run out of money before you run out of life? And historically, the financial services community has basically said, well, if you don't want to run out of money, then we've got to put a speed limit on how much you're withdrawing from your stock market portfolio. And so they've done Monte Carlo scenarios and simulations. And basically what they concluded back in the early 90s with the Trinity study is that if you want to have a realistically high expectation of never running out of money, then you can never take more than 4% of your day one retirement balance, adjusted every year thereafter for inflation. So if you have $1 million, you can only take out 40,000. Next year, you can take out 40,000 plus 3%, so on and down the road. And your money's likely to last a full 30-year retirement. Well, as it turns out, that's a pretty expensive way to go about eliminating what we call longevity risk.
Right.
So if, for example, and Dave Ramsey talks about this all the time, Dave Ramsey says that you can take out 8%, not
Oh my
4%. So what
goodness.
Dave
Yeah.
Ramsey is after is he's like, well, if you want to live on $80,000 per year, you only have to save $1 million per year. Well, the Trinity study says you got to save 2 million, right? So Dave
Mm-hmm.
Ramsey's wrong. Everybody has vindicated this 4% rule. It's an expensive way to eliminate longevity risk. Well, as it turns out, there are ways to make sure that you never run out of money prior to your actuarial life expectancy that are much less expensive than the 4% rule. And that's by using an annuity. And basically what you do with an annuity is you take a chunk of your liquid retirement savings, you hand it over to a insurance company who's in the business of predicting how long you're going to live. And basically what you get in that transaction is you get a guarantee that you'll get a stream of income that it will last as long as you're on this side of the grass. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty compelling thing when you consider the math, because the math shows that to get $40,000 of guaranteed lifetime income does not cost you $1 million. In other words, you don't have to hand $1 million over to the insurance company to get that $40,000 stream of income. It could be as low as 600, 650,000. So that begs the question, if you can solve longevity risk much less expensively, now you've got an extra $350,000 that you can do some really interesting things with, like create a discretionary fund. Maybe you want to take the kids to Disney
Mm-hmm.
World. You want to take that trip around the world. You want to go get the golf membership, what have you. Maybe you're going to have a hole in your roof. So maybe you want to eliminate one of the most insidious risks that could befall you in retirement. That's the long-term care risk, which will,
Mm-hmm.
if not buffered against, will force you to burn through your entire life savings in just a matter of years. And so the reality is it's a lot less expensive. Annuities can do two things that the stock market cannot do. Number one, they can guarantee that you will never outlive your money. And number two, they can do it much less expensively than the stock market. And
Mm-hmm.
so what they've done studies on this, and what they found is that the more financial advisors learn about annuities, the more well-versed they are on how they work, the more likely they are to recommend them. The less familiar an advisor is with an annuity, the less likely they are to recommend it. So that's why it's so important that you deal with a fiduciary, somebody who is prepared to defend their recommendation in a court of law. I mean, we have to be able to make the case that what we're
Mm-hmm.
recommending is going to shield you from as many retirement risks as possible.
Yeah, and they certainly are complex. but they don't have to be expensive. Because they're the typical arguments. Well, they're so complex and they're so expensive, and there are complex and expensive platforms out there, or offerings out there. But it doesn't have to be that way. They're all complex, but it doesn't mean, my car is very complex, and I count on it every day.
Get you from point A to point B, right?
That's right. And that's the goal. So,
folks, my upcoming book, The Guru Gap, How America's Financial Gurus Are Leading You Astray and How to Get Back on Track, is now available for pre-order on Amazon. Take the opportunity to order your copy today. Also, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 1 million Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davidmcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.